All right. All right, we're going to get our regular scheduled city council work session started today, Wednesday, March 6, 2024. First on the agenda. Well, guys, let me do this real quick. I want to make a motion to amend the agenda and place the.
Hold on, you can't make a motion.
I want someone.
I'll make a motion to place the executive session that we would like to do right after the work session, at the end of the meeting.
All right.
I will second that motion.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Nay. Motion carries. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that little small business. All right, first on the agenda, guys, is our Fairhope East Elementary School presentation by Principal Christina Stacy.
So I'm just going to start. I'm going to introduce Ms. Stacy. But
Right.
I just want to always, I guess, give this speech before they make their presentation to let folks know this is just an effort for us to educate our citizens about what is happening with their tax dollars. We know that, all the schools benefit from the 3-meal tax district, and this is our effort to educate them about what's happening with that money and all the great things happening in our school. They can also find that information in the latest issue of City Sketches. There's a brief synopsis from each school and also some information just on the 3-meal district. So with that being said, I'm happy to introduce Ms. Stacy.
Welcome, Ms. Stacy, Principal Stacy.
Thank you guys for having me. I think we're going to get started by watching a short 5-minute video.
All right, very good. Oh, we don't have TVs. Oh, that's good.
My role here at Fairhope East as the STEAM teacher really just allows kids to get hands-on, working through the engineering design process, getting to work with robots and 3D printers, and just really gets them excited about their learning.
They're not really
Oh my gosh, there's a myriad of ways. First of all, it just juices up their creative thinking. It gives them, to me, one of the most important things is a connection to the natural world, the world that they live in. I mean, I could just go on, and I think this is probably a short video, so.
Oh my goodness, how does it not? It's just the best thing we can use. It has all the different curriculum, and they get to work together. They are so excited when they get to do anything STEAM related, so they benefit from it a lot.
So, stick it in. Got the flowers right. Yes!
I'm on my hand for 21 days. But this one, when I pulled it, it kind of turned.
The important thing about STEAM is that everything we do is connected to the real world. And here in the AV team, every single morning, the children are working on tasks and assignments that are real world. They're working with technology to communicate to the school and outside the school. They are solving problems, they're collaborating, and all of that is based in STEAM.
Okay guys, ready on set? Ready on set? Countdown.
I like that you get to work with like technology and computers, and that like you can be on camera and it's fun and you get to see your friends.
I like getting to work with technology and learn new things, and I like to work with a new team. 3, 4, 5.
Tiene dos letras, ¿ok? Y dime las letras, ¿qué son?
C,
C-H. Muy bien. Y el sonido es? Muy bien. C-H.
Ready, set.
Without 3 meal money, my role here at Fairhope East would not be possible. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Miss Wiles, who you saw in our AV studio, was the mastermind behind that. So when you see her, but I have to ask, I mean, was it a Fairhope video? Would it be a Fairhope video if Linda Smith weren't in it? So obviously, we took advantage of that, of her being there. She is there constantly to help us. But I'm just here to say thank you, and for you all to know that without this 3 meal money, all of these things that you see on here truly would not be possible. But one of the most important parts of the 3 meal money for us are these extra personnel that we get, because what that gives us with our students is growth. Our biggest subpopulation is the Hispanic population. So we have children coming to us at every grade level, kindergarten through 6th grade, who many of them do not speak our language. We were able to fund a full-time ELL interventionist in our school, and this has shown tremendous growth. Of that group, we had 90% growth on our STAR data, which is our measuring tool, from the beginning to the middle of the year, and we fully anticipate this will continue to grow. And we're really excited about that, because while this video has so much to do with STEAM, our school was the first STEAM certified elementary school in the county. So that's something we're very proud of. We worked very hard for that. But STEAM is throughout our entire curriculum. It's cross-curricular. Ms. Shonek, who was on there, she's our STEAM lab. She sees every child. She's able to touch every single child in that school every week and every other week. She's able to teach them all of these extra hands-on, collaborative learning objectives that we want our students to be able to know, which is very helpful, not only in just general classroom learning, but those standardized tests that we do take. Part-time interventionists are very important for us. They're those people who help us pull out students of the class who might be in Tier 2 or Tier 3 intervention, and that is extremely helpful to our teachers and to those students. The AV studio that you guys saw on there, Ms. Wiles, when she spoke, it had the black background, and then it showed video of the students. That is completely student-led. That is because of 3 meal money. That is absolutely was funded and created that way. We have a full studio where we have a green screen, and then the other side where the walls were painted black, that's the technical side of it. And one thing I love about that, not only does it teach students that they can speak in front of others and they can learn the role, but also the technical side. So maybe it'll spark interest in a child to say, one day I want to do that. That's a really neat trade or a cool career to have. So anything that we can do to spark interest, and of course at the very end you saw our report card grade, which was a 95. And man, that's because we have awesome teachers. Yeah. And I am so thankful for them, and I am so proud to walk beside them every day. And without this 3 meal, we wouldn't be able to do that, and we wouldn't be able to have the success we do because we have extra resources and we have all the things and more that we could possibly ever want. And I'm just here to tell you thank you. And the proof is in the pudding. We're doing it, and we're doing it well.
All right, very good. Thank you.
Any questions? Anything else y'all want to know about me? No?
Did you say you?
Yeah, or our school. Or our school. Obviously, Corey. Thank you.
Thank you, Principal Stacy.
Okay, see you tomorrow, Corey.
Yes, ma'am, I'll be there.
Thank you.
Yes. All right, very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. All right, guys. All right, yes. Agenda item number 2, a discussion of our 2024 flood damage prevention ordinance by Eric Cortinas.
Are we on? I don't see power. Can you hear? Yep, okay.
Yep, we can hear you,
Okay,
bud.
no light. Thank you, Mayor, Council. Just to let you know, we are required by FEMA for our citizens to have flood insurance, that we have to adopt a flood damage prevention ordinance. Middle or early part of last year, FEMA and the Office of Water Resources mandated that all jurisdictions and all communities had to adopt an updated ordinance based on the model ordinance that they put together. So this is what this has to do. I have to bring it to you, look at it. When we put it on an agenda for adoption, that also counts as the public hearing. So folks will be able to come in and make comments on it if they have any questions. But this is something every city's doing. So just so you know. Now, I'm going to zip through this pretty fast. I color-coded the draft so you know as you're reading let's see. Do we have it, John, where I can pull it up on here and scroll through it, or do we not? Okay, no problem. Yeah, no problem. Okay, yeah, by the way, it was 42 pages of pure joy to go through this, so just so you know.
Yeah,
It's in the packet.
It's in
Okay,
our
good
packet.
deal.
Yes,
good
we
deal.
have it.
So I spent a lot of quality time working on this. But so anything you see in black is the basic language, and anything you see printed in black is in our existing ordinance. It's no different from the current ordinance we have. Where you see red, that's something specific to the city. Either there were a couple of things I'm going to point out where we put some higher regulations on that are a little more restrictive. The blue that you see was the strongly requested language from FEMA and Office of Water Resources to kind of tighten up different components that we need to do. So I'm going to go through, I made a couple of highlights on it. There is, and I can just tell you where we are in Article 2, Section B. There's a section about issuance of final letter of determination. What that is when we are issued new flood maps, which happens, supposed to be about every 4 years. It was like 13 last time. They issue them as preliminary, while there is a protest time or a comment time before they go final. That dictates, which we have done in the past, that when the preliminaries are issued, that then becomes the standard. If there are changes to the final, then it's revised back. And they finally put that language in there, which was not there previously. The additional enforcement actions, which are under that same section, it gives some more rights of entry. One of the things that becomes difficult is going through and being able to enforce these, and the previous ordinance did not have specific rights of entry or specific ways to enforce these. They added that language in there. That's not uncommon, but one of the things it specifies is the ability to cut off utilities if someone is refusing to comply with the regulations, and these are federally based, so that's part of why they put that in there. Bear with me, I'm going to flip through. One of the things we did to do a little bit higher standard is in what's called a V zone or coastal A zone. That's the stuff right up against the bay where they have heavy wave action. That's where most of your damage occurs during a flooding event. There are some additional technical guidelines that are specified in there on how those are to be built, breakaway walls, how those structures are to be built to withstand a wave action. So there's some additional language that was in our previous ordinance that was not in the model ordinance that I added back. So it's nothing that we're doing that's any different than we have been doing since the last time we did an ordinance. One of the biggest things that, and Corey and I talked a little bit earlier today, one of the big problems for FEMA, right now, they're probably $25–30 billion in the hole on disaster funds that they've spent. One of the big things that they want to eliminate, and they are mandating that all the jurisdictions do, are what's called a repetitive loss property, which are grandfathered properties, they're below the flood line, they hadn't been renovated, they keep getting damaged, they keep making these payouts. They are really cracking down on repetitive losses. One of the reasons that we need to do this, and you and I spoke about it, there have been grandfathered flood insurance rates for years. Somebody had an old house, they're paying $400 or $500 a year, and they keep having damages over and over. FEMA has gone to actual risk rating. What is the risk of the house, not what was the previous insurance rate? And we have seen in different parts of Baldwin County, people's insurance go from $500–600 a year to $5,000–7,000 a year because it's an older, non-compliant property. So FEMA's one of their biggest goals is to eliminate as many repetitive losses as they can, and that's in the language that they put in there. The biggest thing, and I'm just going to, there's two significant things that we do that I want to make sure you're aware of. There are different types of flood zones. You have flood fringe, you have a floodway, which is a riverine area, that's Fish River, but we also have some in our gullies where it's high velocity during heavy rains. That is what's called a floodway. The city's ordinance, going back to the last time we did it, we prohibit habitable structures in a floodway. We have several platted lots of record from way back in the day that are platted lots of record that meet the zoning ordinance and all of the regulations, but it has a floodway, a gullyway that runs through it. By prohibiting those habitable structures, that is now an unbuildable lot. You cannot build there. So that's probably the most restrictive thing we do, but that's also an area that is absolutely going to be underwater in a flood condition, and it's foolish to allow someone to build a house there, even if they can meet the FEMA regulations and they get stranded because they're in the middle of floodwaters. So that's the one thing that's probably the most restrictive thing that the city does that's above and beyond what FEMA requires. And the other significant thing that they added, which I absolutely kept in there, is the new requirements bar what they refer to as critical facilities from being allowed to be placed in a floodplain. Previously, under certain circumstances, you could do it, but they're talking about hospitals, police, fire stations, storage of records. They're also talking about chemical storage. Those things are classified as critical facilities. Previously, if you built them up or you did other things or you filled or did this, you could potentially put one of those in a critical, in a floodplain. This now bars that. And the biggest example we've had locally is back in the discussion when the substation that went out behind Hawthorne Glen was built. Originally, folks wanted to put it in the north end of the detention pond at Publix. We ended up not allowing it there anyway, but this would address those types of issues because an electrical substation is a pretty critical facility. So that is the other thing that is barred. The rest of this pretty much is standard language that we have done for years, that most other communities have done for years. Kevin, we also kept the 1-foot freeboard requirement. So FEMA establishes the flood line. We require them to build 1 foot higher. There are some 3- and 4-foot freeboards on some of the coastal communities because of their concerns. But that's something the county, that's consistent with the county, with Foley, with Daphne, Fairhope. We all have a freeboard requirement. So that's nothing new.
All right.
So in a nutshell, that's 42 pages of regulations. If you have any question, you're welcome to ask.
Thank you. Very good. Thank you, Eric. Yes.
All good?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what I am going to request, and I'll get with Ms. Hanks, I would like to see if we can get this placed on the next agenda because there's a deadline we have been given to adopt. And it was actually March 1st, but they gave everybody an extension because they haven't even reviewed this at the state level yet. What we've written is going to pass. I don't have a problem with it because we've done more than they've asked. But I do need, if we can, to get it in front of the council for consideration and adoption at the next meeting, if at all possible.
All right, thank you.
Okay?
No problem. All right. Committee updates, guys?
No updates for me, sir.
Mayor and I met with some people related to historic preservation yesterday, listened to some of their concerns. We're looking into it, and we'll see if there's any revisions necessary
All right.
that we can make to ease some of those concerns.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Yes, sir. None? All right, and I don't have any. All right, department heads?
Good afternoon. I don't have anything on the agenda for this evening, but I do just want to give y'all a couple quick updates about the department. So far this calendar year, we have hired 25 employees. So for our orientation dates, that's 8, 12, 5, and 7. So keeping us pretty busy. As far as our quick safety report, we've had 10 incidents reported this year so far with 3 workers' comp claims. So not terrible so far, relatively minor. And then special projects, we went live with NeoGov yesterday, which is our applicant tracking system that y'all allowed us to amend the budget to purchase. So we are super excited about that. We've already started working with directors to get them logged on, get them trained on the system, and start reposting all of our jobs. We're going to be doing some supervisor training on performance evaluations this spring, and then moving into our annual citywide compliance training for all employees. And then I'm hoping to send the final revision of the handbook to the personnel board on March 21st.
All right,
If I
thank
have
you.
my way.
All right,
So-
thank you, Ms.
I have
Hannah.
a question just on the applicant tracking.
Yeah.
So is there a way to capture that if they are applying for one particular job and maybe they don't get selected, but they're actually a good fit for multiple other jobs, does it kind of forward that application on down the line, so to speak?
So one of the things we're changing is our process of reviewing the applications. With the previous system, which was part of Tyler Enterprise ERP, the hiring managers were going in and pulling them as they saw fit based on their jobs. But with NeoGov, the HR staff will be more involved in that review process, so we will be able to kind of direct applicants who aren't selected for one job, maybe to another position. So we'll be more involved on the front end.
All right,
Sounds good.
all right, thank you, Ms. Hannah.
Thank you.
All right, final adoption is 5, let's see, 6 is an ordinance, let's see. Who's coming? I need to call someone? Yeah.
Yes.
Please do.
It's gonna be worse if we have to call your name.
Come on down, the price is right. Please don't.
No, I would not do that. Council,
I'm trying.
actually, I got
You're
everything.
evil.
For a change, it's all pretty straightforward and easy. Number 10, which Nicole and I are involved with, this is a request for you to accept the $620,000 from GOMESA for the restoration of the beach at Magnolia, which is Magnolia Beach, which is just south of Pier Avenue Boat Launch. This is 100% grant funding for the project, but one of the things we will have to do and budget for is post-restoration monitoring so that we can report that the design was successful in maintaining a sandy shoreline there. And that will be budgeted either in the next year or the next year, depending how this
That-
project moves forward.
That's about 80K, right?
That's what we have as a placeholder,
Yes,
yes,
sir.
sir. Number 12 is a housekeeping item, and Marcus and I had a kind of a little bit of a chuckle about how we accomplished this because, well, you are the seller and you are the buyer. And I've gotta let you know is that part of the roundabout project is we've got to extend some drainage and we've got to tie grades back in. So there's no improvements being made on this 2 small tracks. I mean, 0.01 acre, 0.09 acres, I believe what it was. But it's just to be able to tie the grade back in. So it does not put any infrastructure on park property, but ALDOT requires us to have it as classified as right-of-way. And I do need to inform you, per the Uniform Right-of-Way Acquisition and Relocation Act of 1974, you as a seller have a right to demand of the buyer fair market value, okay? And if you don't agree what you offer yourself for this property, then you have a right to pay the cost of hiring 2 appraisers, one to do the appraisal and one to review the appraisal, to determine what the fair market value is, and then pay yourself that amount. or we can just pass this and just forget about all that. But in the essence of the requirements of ALDOT, I need to inform you of your rights as the buyer and the seller, okay?
Very good.
And I'll be glad to answer any questions on that. And then, as you know, we budgeted to continue the master planning for Flying Creek Nature Preserve. This is in reference to the 36-acre tract to the south, the one that is actually triangle-shaped. And we are requesting that you authorize Mayor Sullivan the selection of Thompson to continue to lead this master planning. And if you'll note in your paperwork, there is some notes that they will be hiring a sub-consultant that will be named in the resolution authorizing the execution of the contract that specializes in off-road bicycling facilities. And you may, it's probably the one you've already met, but that's just part of the process we have to go through. And more than 50%, actually substantially more than 50% will actually be paying that consultant to do the planning and design for the off-road facility. So be glad to answer any questions. We're just excited to keep moving forward. And just while we're on Flying Creek Nature Preserve, so the first phase, which is the big phase that you've all seen the presentations on and everything else, that project is divided into two separate bid projects, since the pedestrian tunnel is really a traditional roadwork project and the park project's a little bit different because it has vertical as well as site work. Both of those projects are advertising for bids starting this month. It is a long bid process since both projects are a big dollar, and we want to make sure we get plenty of time out there, but you will be seeing those bids here within 60 days. So we're excited about that, and that's going to be a great start to starting that park development. So any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
No. Thank you, Richard, for tying these two together. I think we're all kind of concerned about going too far with the other one without tying this one, so God bless you, my friend.
All right, thank you.
Perfect. Yes, sir.
I have 7 and 8. 5 is the final for an annexation. It's a straight annexation, so they'll have to go through a zoning change if they want anything other than the R1. 7 is our standard acceptance for right-of-ways with one exception. This is a 1-year period. Almost 2 years ago, we were here with this same case. It had a condition that the subdivider actually signed the bonds, as we've made other developments. They didn't do that, so this is kind of at the end. The subdivider signed the bonds for 1 year. Everything's almost finished. We just need a maintenance period. So other than that, it's standard operating procedures. 8, if you ask more questions, it's going to get more convoluted because this one's kind of tricky. It's an agreement between us, the developers at Rockwell, and Baldwin County to try to put this as simply as possible. With SB 1, when SB 107 and the jurisdictional changes happened, the Fairhope Planning Commission had approved a preliminary plat for this development. Approximately a year later, the county, after that, the jurisdictional changes, also approved a preliminary plat. There was a conflict because the roads are already under construction, built to City of Fairhope standards, with the intent of building the roads for the preliminary plat, creating 2 lots, annexing the roads and the 10 acres fronting 181 into the city. With the 2 preliminary plat approvals, both us and the county have to approve those final plats. County cannot do that because it doesn't meet their road standards. So this agreement is essentially allowing the plat to be signed to split the properties, allow them to annex in. The county's concern was before they sign the plat, they want to ensure that the city is, if everything is met properly, the city is going to take that road for maintenance. So that's what this is intended to do, and it's been worked on for about 5 months now, trying to get those details worked out. But that's all I have on the agenda if you have any questions. Okay.
It's pretty straightforward.
Okay.
All right, IT has one item on the agenda. It's number 15. It's a yearly renewal for the radio system, the transmitter site. It was in the budget and just a yearly renewal for the radio service.
It's budgeted, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, Jeff.
All right. Any questions?
Any questions, council?
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you. All right, Tom? You have 14, correct? Yep.
I didn't get a copy of the agenda, so let me see
Just talk,
what
it's
I've
about
got
the
here.
drainage project at Quail Creek.
Yes, we had
Bid proposal.
budgeted for this year $130,000 to put drainage in 10 greens, and the low bid came back at $115,000.
Okay.
So I'm asking you to please pass that.
And that'll complete the drainage project.
That will complete the drainage of 19 greens for $220,000 total.
All right,
Pretty remarkable.
yeah. All drainage, very good. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, number 11, property describes as a warranty deed. Number 11, Mayor, who's doing the warranty deed with the Fairhope single tax?
I can do that. That's just for the Church Street substation. That's just to deed it back to single tax. We had thought that just would revert back, but single tax sent the paperwork through, so Lisa said it needed to go on the agenda just to
Deed it back to
transfer
them.
that back to single tax.
All right, simple as that. Okay. All right, number 11. And let's see, number 8 is a resolution. Let's see, did we do?
Yeah, Hunter did 7 and 8, yeah.
Let's see, 9, 10. Number 6. Let's talk about that. Number 6, as far as rules and procedures, pretty straightforward. It gives us an opportunity to go right into city council meeting if there is not a hearing. Otherwise, it will be designated time. But other than that, we wrote the language in the ordinance to where when we have dead time, we can go directly into our city council meeting instead of having that dead space. That's what number 6 is.
Could actually use that today.
I wish we could, yeah, so we got a yes. Okay, all right, I think that's it.
9.
All right, number 9 is,
I can handle that.
Okay, yep.
Yeah, that's just our annual AIP grant. As the sponsor of the airport, the city has to, apply as well. So it's just
FAA.
just getting our annual appropriation of $150,000.
Yep. We don't want to turn that down. All right, under 50K. All right. Okay, guys, the number 6 on the agenda is our executive session. I am going to read this right here, then we'll have a vote. All right, as city attorney, you want me to say Marcus or leave? Okay, is that, are you?
You can say my name as well. I mean, just use me.
All right, yep. As I, attorney, Christopher Chris Williams, I hereby request that Fairhope City County go into executive session based on Alabama Code 3625A7A3 to discuss the legal ramifications of illegal options for pending litigation, controversies not yet being litigated, but imminently likely to be litigated or imminently likely to be litigated if the governmental body pursues a proposed course of action. As city attorney, I hereby request that the city council of the city of Fairhope rise from the regular city council meeting on Wednesday, March 6, 2024, to go into executive session. The city council shall be in executive session for approximately 40 minutes. At the end of the executive session, the city council shall return to the city council chambers to resume for regular work session meeting. I get a motion.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Hearing none, motion carries.